How's the gut-brain connection related to your mental health? In today's video, we're talking about the gut, how it works, what happens when it doesn't work, what causes it not to work, and what you can do about it. Hey there, it's Carrie Bailey, your functional nutritionist here. I work with people with anxiety, depression, and other weird mystery symptoms, and I help them heal. Welcome to this growing community of people who are ready to heal their anxiety and depression for good. Let's start the video today by talking about how the gut works, how it's supposed to work. Let's take an example of a salmon salad, for instance. So you're gonna start either making that salmon salad or ordering that salmon salad at a restaurant. You're gonna start to salivate just thinking about eating it. You're gonna put a bite in your mouth and you're gonna chew it really well. Ideally, you're gonna chew it like 30 times to really digest that salmon salad. You're gonna chew it really well. Then once it's fully chewed, you're releasing the enzymes in your mouth to start breaking down those carbohydrates. Then the food is going to move down your esophagus into your stomach, and it's going to land in this beautiful bath of stomach acid. Now that stomach acid should be really strong. It should have a really low pH of like 1 to 3. It should be super acidic, like battery acid, not like vinegar. So then it's going to stay in your stomach for anywhere from like 1 to 4 hours, depending on what the components of the foods that are in your stomach. And then it's going to trigger a move into your small intestines. And when it transitions from that super acidic environment into the less acidic environment, it's going to trigger the gallbladder to release bile. And that bile is going to come to start breaking down your fats. It's going to also come to release toxins that have been stored in the liver. Now, that's going to also trigger your pancreas after that to bring in the other enzymes that you need to help further break down that food. Now, with that beautiful mix of digestive enzymes, that food is going to move into your small intestines, and it's going to move along your small intestines through peristalsis, which is like a muscle-like action that's going to move it, and it also requires nerves, and your nerves are going to fire and move that muscle along. You're also going to have these finger-like projections, this shag carpeting on the lining of your small intestines. Like you may have heard that your small intestines are like the size of a football field. Well, the way it gets that big is because you've got these finger-like projections, you've got all that space, and then you've got tiny little hairs, if you will, on each of those projections. And that's where the bacteria live. That's how you break down the food and get into the nutrients that you need into your body. So as the food moves through your small intestines, it's getting absorbed, it's getting all the nutrients, it's breaking it down it's breaking down proteins down to the amino acid level, it's breaking carbohydrates to glucose, and it's breaking fats into fatty acids. So that ideally, by the time it gets to your colon, it's fully digested. Some more stuff's going to happen in the colon. And then you're ready to drop that into the toilet. So once you have that poop in the toilet, ideally, it's going to be like the consistency of a just firm banana. It's going to be a medium brown color. It's going to come out very easily. It's not going to leave residue on your bottom, not be painful, not leave any residue in the toilet on the toilet paper. That's the ideal. That's really what we want. And that poop's going to sink in the toilet to the bottom, meaning there's no undigested fats in there. And then that's what it looks like. So let's talk about what things look like if they're not working well. So you might be under a lot of stress. Stress completely shuts down your digestive system because that's not the time to make babies or digest your food. That's the time to run from the lion. So if you have that much stress in your life, there's not going to be really good digestion. That's going to be always very poor. Now, also, if you're not making the right food choices, that can further disrupt your digestion. So what this might look like. This might look like you put a bite of food in your mouth and you inhale it, you chew it 3 times and you swallow instead of 30 times. This might be when it gets into the stomach, there's not a very strong stomach acid. And so you might get symptoms of GERD or acid reflux, and then that food might not be digested well. It might instead move into the small intestines undigested. So that's not going to get that burst of strong bile from the gallbladder. So instead of having a burst, it might just be a trickle. And same thing with the pancreas. And pancreas may or may not release enzymes or enough enzymes into that food to be digested. So now that food that's not fully digested, so it's going to attract bugs. And those bugs are just going to create an imbalance in your bacteria. So that bacteria is going to overgrow. The bad bacteria, if you will, unproductive bacteria, is going to overgrow. And then the good bacteria is going to be sort of killed off. When you have bad bacteria and undigested food in the system, it leads to excess ammonia. And that ammonia can seep out of your digestive system and go systemic all the way around your body. It can affect your brain as well as other parts of your body. It means that your body is more acidic. And these types of excess ammonia can lead to fatigue, it can lead to brain fog, poor sleep, and anxiety. Additionally, excess bad bacteria leads to gas and bloating. So what happens too when the good bacteria goes into decline and you don't have as much good bacteria in your digestive system, they're the ones that really help you make your B vitamins and break down your nutrients in order to have strong mental health. So that's why they're so important, to protect those good bacteria and to feed the good bacteria with fruits and vegetables. So now you also will have the issue of not fully digesting your food. So you're not breaking down the proteins to the amino acids and the carbohydrates to the glucose and the fatty acids to the fats to the fatty acids. And so therefore that food is not going to be fully digested. That means you're sort of being malnourished, right? Because if you can't get those up into your bloodstream for your body to use as fuel, then it's going to be deficient in fuel. So then the food is going to move through your small intestines. Now, if you've had this kind of similar action over time, it's going to continue to get worse. And so those little villi I was talking about earlier, maybe those villi, maybe the little hairs on them are down and they're not there anymore. Or even worse, kind of basically the description of celiac disease is when those projections get really small like this, and there's almost no surface for you to absorb the nutrients into your body. And then once the food comes into the colon, it might cause pain or discomfort, especially in the ileus or the ileum, where it transitions from the small intestines into the colon. That can be a place of causing pain. So any kind of indication of pain, gas, bloating means there's something that's not happening right. Constipation, maybe the peristaltic action isn't working right. But then once the food gets to the colon, it will, in addition to causing pain, it might come out in different colors, right? It might be clay-like color if there's not enough bile flow. It might be orange or green if there's too much bile flow. And so that can cause all kinds of different problems. And then if it comes out in the toilet and it's sticking to anything, usually it means your fats aren't being digested well. And if it's floating instead of sinking, that can be a problem. Let's talk about some of the things that you can do to improve your digestion. Well, first of all is to reduce as much mental emotional stress as you can. There might still be stressors in your body which you don't have as much control over, or we can address those in a later video. But the stress, the mental emotional stress, the go, 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 if you can bring that down, especially before you eat and while you're digesting your food. So in the old days, they used to say grace. So I say take 3 or 4 deep breaths, really become present, really be there present with your food. Don't be thinking about doing something else. Don't be watching TV or doing something else. Really present and really eat in a space of relaxation. Here's another pro tip, which I mentioned before, is you want to chew each bite. You want to chew each bite 30 times. I know that sounds like a lot, but give it a try. Try for a week, just chew your food 30 times. It might slow you down. It might just bring awareness to how many times you're chewing. And it just might feel better in your body. And you might, sometimes what I find is people are always such in a hurry that it becomes a habitual pattern of constantly not chewing well enough. And so this might help break that pattern. And again, just see how it feels in your body, how the food feels in your body when you chew it 30 times. So let's talk a little bit about what to eat, what not to eat. Be sure to choose the most nutrient-dense fruits and vegetables that you can, ideally organic. Also, if you're going to eat animal protein, be sure it's clean. So grass-fed beef, organic chicken, and wild salmon. So here's an example of what a day might look like in a day of eating. So for breakfast, you might want to have some oatmeal and banana, especially the way that they're slimy. This is going to sound funny, but the sliminess of oatmeal and the sliminess of banana and those types of foods, papaya, anything that's kind of slimy, is actually going to be really good and healing for your digestive system. Now, for lunch and dinners, you want to make the fruits and vegetables the star of the plate. Make sure 3/4 of your plate is vegetables, and then the other fourth can be beans or animal protein, whatever else you want in there. I also like to make sure that you're including a salad with at least once a day. Eat those leafy greens. Those are a great way. It's a great way to slow down your meal too, because you really have to chew to eat salad. And then when it comes to snacks, I always recommend, again, looking for fruits and vegetables as the star of the day of those snacks. So eating an apple is a great idea, a banana, orange, any kind of fruit you like. Also, I love like raw veggies as a snack, maybe with some guacamole or some hummus. So this might be carrots and cucumbers and radishes and bell peppers. These are great snack choices instead of a bar or some other kind of processed food or a cookie. So let's talk a little bit about the foods to avoid. So the foods you want to eliminate, especially if there's bugs in your gut, is anything that might attract a mycotoxin. So there are certain foods in our diet that have more exposure to mycotoxins. These are grains, especially because they're stored in big halos, and so they're definitely attracting more molds. So these are things like wheat, corn, and rice. Also, coffee and chocolate are very susceptible to mycotoxins, so I like to take those out as well if you have digestive issues. And the other one to remove that's important to remove is dairy. And the reason I like to remove dairy, especially with digestive issues, is that it coats the stomach and it reduces stomach acid. And we want the most robust stomach acid, as you have learned today. All right, let's get to supplements. What supplements can we do for our digestion? So in the old days, I used to recommend betaine, HCl, and digestive enzymes, but I didn't really find that they moved the dial. So another thing that's going to move the dial a little bit more is bitters. But the challenge there is to try to find bitters without alcohol. So bitters can be really great for the digestive system. You can take them before, after, during. If you have discomfort, I really like bitters. So let's talk a little bit about my favorite gut healing herbs. There's two things that I like for gut healing herbs. And those, one is aloe vera, and the other is celery juice. So aloe vera you can find in the produce section of a lot of grocery stores, like Whole Foods has them, and you'll see them. They're a big, long piece like this. And you can also find it in the freezer section. And you can eat this aloe vera straight out of the shell. Just make sure you peel it and scoop it out. Or you can, in the freezer section, it's already out, and so you can eat it whole like that. Or if you prefer, you can blend it with some water. You can drink this anywhere from 1 to like 8 times a day. And the best food that I found for increasing stomach acid, to increase bile flow, and to help address pancreatic insufficiency is celery juice. So this is fresh celery juice, not store-bought celery juice. And this is going to be anywhere from 1/4 cup to 2 cups on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. I'd love to hear your ahas from today. And if you love today's video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, pop a comment below. If you'd like more support, check out my anxiety and depression recovery guide in the description below. There you'll get videos, recipes, tips, and tricks in order to get you started on your journey to healing your anxiety and depression for good. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.